Good morning. This is Matt Carlisle. We will be getting started shortly. Just want to let everybody know that if you're on the phone, mute your lines. And if you have questions, go ahead and type them down in the comment in the chat, and we'll get to them. At the end of the presentation, Ashley will take questions, and we'll go from there. So our presentation today is obviously from Ashley Miller from Breathe, Utah. We're going to be talking about ways to get the cleanest vehicle you can for your needs. And Ashley has a great presentation that she's prepared, so we'll get started. Thanks for joining us, and get it over, Ashley.
Okay, thanks, Matt. So we're ready to get going right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, thanks everybody for attending the webinar today. Whether you're purchasing vehicles for yourself or your family or vehicles for your fleet, the information that I'll be giving you today will allow you the opportunity to make informed decisions when searching for your next vehicle, and just in general be able to identify a clean vehicle and understand how to decipher the information that's provided on a vehicle's window sticker or on the emissions information placard under the hood. And I'll also show you how to find this information for used vehicles online. And I'll talk about some really great incentives offered right now for you and your business. Okay, so this is the window sticker from the car I actually just purchased earlier this month. And as you can see, it has typical information about vehicle safety and some of its features, but the most prominent piece on this particular window sticker is the lower half of the sticker, and this is where the EPA information is. This is called the Monroney label, and it's also sometimes called the EPA label, and it's been required to be placed on vehicles for sale since 2013. And some car makers have started adopting the label voluntarily around model year 2012. So within this typically 4x6, it's about that size, sometimes it's a little bit smaller, there's a lot of really good information. And most of the information is really important to consumers. It explains things like miles per gallon and money you'll be likely to save or spend if it's a little bit less efficient of a vehicle. And most importantly to us here along the Wasatch Front, it contains information about the vehicle's tailpipe emissions. And so I'll be going over each part of this label in detail. So let's just get right to it. Okay, so as you can see, the Monroney label can be broken down into about 12 points of information. So I'm going to start with number 1 here, and this area indicates how the vehicle is powered. So this label is for a vehicle powered by gas. Labels are available for diesel, compressed natural gas, hydrogen fuel cell, flex fuel, plug-in hybrids, and electric, and also, hybrids. And hybrid vehicles that do not have plug-in capability are identified as gas vehicles, since they do run primarily on gasoline. So in a couple of slides, I'll show you what an electric label looks like and what a plug-in hybrid label looks like when we talk about miles per gallon. Okay, number 2, in many surveys across the board, miles per gallon is one of the top concerns for consumers when they're looking for a new vehicle. So it's what everybody wants to know about the vehicle they are interested in purchasing. So how much is this going to cost me to drive? So right here, number 2 identifies fuel economy. So for gas vehicles, the label shows city, highway, and combined miles per gallon values. And the combined mile per gallon value is the most prominent for the purpose of just easily comparing vehicles. So some form of the miles per gallon metric has been on vehicle labels since 1977. And for vehicles that don't use gas or other liquid fuels like EVs and plug-in hybrids operating on electricity and also CNG, the labels display miles per gallon equivalent or MPGE. So let's look at some of those labels. Okay, so this label right here is for a plug-in hybrid. So as you can see, it shows both an MPG and then an MPGE to show you what you'll be getting on gas, and then also just while you're running off of your battery. So when we're looking at MPGE, think of this as being similar to miles per gallon, but instead of presenting miles per gallon of the vehicle's fuel type, it represents the number of miles the vehicle can go using a quantity of fuel, like with the same energy content as a gallon of gas. So this value allows a reasonable comparison between vehicles using different fuels. So you can, for instance, use miles per gallon equivalent to compare a CNG vehicle with a gas model, even though CNG isn't dispensed or burned in actual gallons. Okay, so this is a label for an electric vehicle. So as you can see, this one only has MPGE since this vehicle only runs on its battery. And when you're online looking this information up rather than on the actual physical window sticker, you can search for different like hybrid or electric or plug-in hybrid, and you just like select which one you're doing. And I'll show you what that website looks like in just a little bit. All right, so this next part, number 3, comparing fuel economy to other vehicles. Sorry, the text is kind of blurry on these slides, but it reads, small SUVs range from 16 to 32 miles per gallon. The best vehicle rates 99 miles per gallon equivalent. So this text just indicates the category of the vehicle, like this sticker is for a small SUV. But they're also available, and it would say like station wagon or pickup truck, and then it shows the best and worst fuel economy within that category for the given model year. And for each model year, EPA publishes a list identifying the best and worst fuel economy performers in each category, and all of the information is available on fueleconomy.gov. And fueleconomy.gov is going to come up a lot during this presentation because a lot of this information can be found there, and that website, if you have a chance, check it out. It's really, really informative, and it's free to use and has a lot of really great tools. Okay, number 4 shows us the money you may save, or sometimes the money you may spend, by calculating the estimated fuel cost over a 5-year period for the vehicle compared to the average new vehicle. If the vehicle would save the consumer money compared to the average vehicle, like this one, the label states you save, X dollars in fuel costs over 5 years compared to the average new vehicle. And if the vehicle costs more to operate than the average, the label says you spend X more in fuel costs over 5 years compared to the average new vehicle. These estimates are based on driving 15,000 miles per year for 5 years, and then it also calculates the projected fuel price for the year. So this particular label, the price per gallon of gas was calculated at $3.70. So that's how they came up with that number. Okay, number 5. This is the fuel consumption rate, and this area of information definitely gets a little bit wonky when you want to really dive into it. There is totally non-linear relationship between gallons used over a given distance and miles per gallon. And fueleconomy.gov, again, that website can show you some pretty intense graphs and charts that show how this information really is non-linear. But by all means, if this piques your interest, check it out. It's definitely way over my head, and I guess that's why I'm a lawyer and not a mathematician. But anyway, check it out. This information just sort of gives you a range for the vehicle. So, okay, so the number 6 is showing the annual fuel costs, and this is based on 2 assumptions. So again, an annual mileage of 15,000 miles, and then a projected gasoline price. So again, fueleconomy.gov, it's a total playground for you if you're into this kind of stuff. The site has tools and lots of information if you want to get really into it. And you can put in your own calculations and your own driving habits and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. All right, now we're getting into the really important and exciting stuff, and that is what a vehicle's impact has on our environment. So number 7 shows the vehicle's greenhouse gas rating. And this new label assigns each vehicle a rating from 1, which is the worst, to 10, which is the best for fuel economy and greenhouse gas emissions, which is basically how much carbon dioxide the vehicle's tailpipe emits each mile. So a higher fuel economy is associated with a better greenhouse gas emissions profile because you're burning less fuel. So that's what this number represents. It sort of represents both, fuel economy and the amount of CO2 putting into the atmosphere, but it's just condensed into one number of a rating. Okay, and then the text underneath that greenhouse gas rating, which is number 8 here, it goes just a little bit further into the CO2 emissions information. So it's fine print text, and it provides 3 key pieces of information. The first piece is combined city and highway CO2 tailpipe emissions. And so again, it's based on tested tailpipe CO2 emissions rates, and then it's displayed in grams per mile. And then number 2, vehicles with the lowest CO2 emissions. So it identifies the lowest CO2 tailpipe emissions of the available vehicles. And if there's electric or fuel cell vehicles on the market, which, these have 0 tailpipe emissions, the value would be 0 grams per mile. And so since we do have those vehicles now, that is the 0 grams per mile is considered the best. And then number 3, it's a really important topic of conversation that comes up a lot when discussing the environmental impacts of electric vehicles or other alternative fuel, but it can also relate to gas miles as well. So again, it refers you to fueleconomy.gov because driving a car can yield both greenhouse gas emissions from tailpipe and also from the production of fuel used to use the power, so like electricity generation or activities associated with fuel production like feedstock extraction, feedstock transport to processing plant, and so on. So again, this rating on this label does not reflect any greenhouse gas emissions associated with fuel production whatsoever. So they're only talking about tailpipe emissions here. And if you want to look more into that, again, go to fueleconomy.gov, and they have greenhouse gas calculator that you can put in to sort of identify and determine exactly what emissions are coming from the production of the electricity or the gas that you're using to power your vehicle. So again, check it out. It's pretty cool to mess around with if you're interested in that. Oh, and here it is. Here is Beyond Tailpipe Emissions from fueleconomy.gov, and this is a little calculator that you can mess around with to sort of see what the impact is. A lot of people are concerned about electricity generation when they're talking about electric vehicles. And so again, we're really concerned with tailpipe emissions because that's what leads to local air pollution. But if you want to find out, you can use this as a tool. Okay, so I purposely skipped number 9 because it's my favorite, smog ratings, and I just want to jump quickly through 10, 11, and 12, and then we'll come back to number 9 in just a minute. So number 10 is part of the label that reminds you that your fuel economy and emissions might be different due to several factors like how you drive, how you maintain and use your vehicle, also like weather, road conditions, and load, stuff like that. And again, it also details the assumptions that are used to determine estimated fuel costs, which again is the 15,000 miles per year and 5 years, and then the average price of gas. So it just, again, a little reminder there for you. Number 11 is a QR code. So if you have a QR scanner on your phone, you can just zap that label and get a lot of information. And then number 12, this is the last part of this label that again directs the consumer to fueleconomy.gov. Like I said, this website is super helpful. It's free to use. You can enter all your personalized information. You can find out information about used vehicles, new vehicles. You can compare models. It's pretty cool, so check it out. Okay, now to my favorite, number 9, which is smog ratings. So smog rating is a rating for vehicle tailpipe emissions. Again, we're talking about tailpipe emissions of the pollutants that cause smog and other local air pollution, like our fine particulate matter pollution that we see so often in the winter, and our summertime ozone and hazy skies that are so prevalent in our hot summers. The ratings are based on a scale of 1 to 10, again, 1 being the worst or most polluting and 10 being the best or least polluting. And this scale is based on U.S. vehicle emission standards, which incorporate specific thresholds for NOx and non-methane organic gas, carbon monoxide, particulate matter, and formaldehyde. So electric vehicles running only on electricity have a smog rating of 10 because the tailpipe emissions are 0. So again, the smog rating is only based on tailpipe emissions. It doesn't take into consideration emissions from electricity generation or anything like that. It focuses on tailpipe emissions because that's what leads to local air pollution. So why is smog ratings my favorite? Well, because I work for Breathe Utah and I'm concerned about air quality, but we care because obviously we have air quality challenges in Utah. I think everyone can agree that we all want cleaner air. And vehicle emissions make up nearly half of our air pollution, like 48% in the winter, they say, and 45% in the summer. So this is another reason why this presentation is so important. And vehicles are getting cleaner. New vehicles are much, much cleaner than the older models. And this is important because, as you can see, we are expected to double our miles traveled in Utah by 2040. And 2040 is pretty much right around the corner. So we need to get older vehicles off our roads and ultimately replace them with the cleanest available. And yeah, I mean, we should focus on other smart mobility options as well, like vehicle-less modes of transportation, but we're always going to have this need for vehicles, at least for a long while. So if drivers are driving cleaner cars, that ultimately leads to fewer emissions and, again, cleaner air in Utah, which is what we all want. So what does the smog rating mean for our air quality? Well, here's an interesting little fact that I've come across is the average new vehicle sold has a smog rating of 5. And if you purchase a vehicle with a smog rating of 8, that's about 1/5 of the emissions of a vehicle with a 5. And more 8 and above ratings on Utah's roads mean fewer vehicle emissions entering our airshed. So during the 2017 legislative session, Representative Patrice Arent and floor sponsor Senator Brian Shiazawa ran a concurrent resolution which encourages Utahns to consider a vehicle smog rating when purchasing their next vehicle. And the resolution was, it garnered a lot of support. 46 members of the Utah House of Representatives all joined the resolution as co-sponsors. And this resolution, even though it's just a resolution and there isn't any law tied to it, it really brings attention to the health effects of air pollution and also the impacts that vehicle emissions have on our airshed and the positive impact that choosing a cleaner vehicle with a smog rating of 8 or higher has on improving the air we breathe. So the resolution passed, and here we can see Governor Herbert signing the bill at a ceremonial bill signing that was held last spring. So this is pretty cool. You know, if you haven't seen the resolution, read it. It's very informative. It's nice to see some actual stats and health concerns actually put into some legislation. And so we were really supportive of that and glad to see that passed. So another place to find emissions, if you don't have a window sticker on the car you're looking at, is under the vehicle's hood. So again, this is the sticker from my car that I just bought, and it's right under the hood. So as you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but to the left and sort of in the middle, it says US EPA T3B30, and that basically means that this is a Tier 3 bin 30 vehicle. So Tier 3 is the newest federal standard, and you've probably heard Tier 3 used a lot talking about fuel and stuff. So this new standard was introduced in 2014, and the phase-in period starts from 2017 through 2025. So by 2025, all new vehicles sold must meet this Tier 3 standard. So Tier 3 vehicles are about 80% cleaner than Tier 2, which was the previous standard introduced in 2004, and Tier 2 was fully implemented in 2009. But here's the good news. There's lots of these cars on Utah's lots right now, and they're not just all electric models. They're hybrids and plug-in hybrids, and then of course there are a lot of electric all battery electric models that are available and coming down in price. So you can get out there and search for a clean car, and now you have lots of choices to choose from. Whereas, even just a few months ago and last year, there weren't a whole lot of 8 smog ratings that weren't fully electric. Another cool thing that Salt Lake City offers is the Salt Lake City green parking sticker, and if you can see in the picture, there's a little green sticker above that brake light on the driver's side, and you basically park in city parking, not in lots but on the street, for 2 hours for free. So that's just a pretty big bonus, and if you have a vehicle with a smog rating of 8 or higher and you register your vehicle with the city, you get that little sticker. Okay, so what is the cleanest vehicle out there right now? All electric, or battery electric, sometimes they're called. And so this is the only vehicle right now that truly is zero tailpipe emissions and readily available in many makes and models. So again, I'm really just focusing here on tailpipe emissions only and vehicles that are widely available. So there's many different types now of electric vehicles. Way more than just the Nissan Leaf or just the Tesla Model X. There's many that are available, and eventually we'll see other alternative fuel vehicles that meet zero emission standards, but for now the best option is definitely electric when we're talking about tailpipe emissions. And the options are pretty wide right now. So you can see here, I know, sorry you guys, this is a little bit blurry, but you can see there's a big list of battery electric vehicles that are available, and then to the right you can see all the plug-in hybrid models that are available. And so basically, no matter what your interest is or what your need for the vehicle is, whether you need it for your business or just for your commuter car or for your family, there's lots of options out there for you. So let's start talking about fleets. If you're looking to include EVs or plug-ins into your fleet, there are some steps that you should take first, and that begins with your team at work. And a really big part of the decision is having the charging infrastructure that you're going to need installed. And you should also think about providing workplace charging, or at least charging capabilities for your fleet at your place of business or wherever it is that you keep your fleet. And you can, Utah Clean Cities is an organization here locally that is equipped to help you with all of these needs, and they can point you in the right direction and help you with the process. So I'm going to provide information at the end about how to get in contact with Utah Clean Cities. So why are businesses choosing EVs? Well, for one, they're cheaper to fuel. Electric vehicles are really significantly cheaper to fuel than gas models. There's been a lot of analysis that have shown that driving about 100 miles on electricity costs an average of $3.45 compared to driving the same distance on gas, which is like $13.50 about. So if you're looking at the average life of a vehicle, the fuel savings are, right around $13,000 for EVs. The average national price of electricity has remained fairly static over the last decade, whereas, global oil market causes oil prices to rise and drop and spike and dip and rise all over again over the same time period. So EVs kind of help you safeguard, you're safeguarded from future spikes in the average price of gas, and it can help your business plan for how much money you'll spend on fuel. Even your family, you can take into consideration that this is going to save you money in the long run, and you'll sort of have an idea of how much you're going to need. EVs are also considered, they're an advanced technology, but they're really remarkably simple to maintain. Basically, an electric motor just has a lot fewer moving parts compared to a combustion engine. And even though, EVs haven't been around for a really long time to really make some great statistical numbers for you, the average right now is they say that EV maintenance costs about 35% less than a conventional vehicle. So driving performance. I don't know if everybody listening to this webinar right now has had a chance to drive an EV, but I seriously encourage you to participate in a ride and drive or go test drive one, because once you do, you'll just be blown away. They are so zippy and fast. I mean, you just get in there and these things just go. It's pretty cool. They have instant torque and it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about EVs, as you can tell. But again, one of the best reasons to switch over to zero emissions is for zero emissions. So when a vehicle is running on electricity, like a plug-in hybrid or something, or a full battery electric, they do produce zero tailpipe emissions. And this is so important for an area like ours with such a sensitive airshed. And again, emissions from electricity generation are a really important part of the equation and when you're looking at the overall picture. But even in regions dominated by relatively dirty power like coal, the emissions produced by an EV for charging an EV are a lot less than the emissions of the average compact vehicle. And so, America's electricity grid is becoming cleaner and fueled by more renewables. So charging EVs is going to become even cleaner. And like I said, when it comes to our local air quality challenge here, we're really concerned with tailpipe emissions that contribute to our daily air pollution and, our inversion season and our summertime ozone smog. And then lastly, EVs are getting cheaper and the technology is improving and the price is coming down. So really it's a win-win. So one thing that I always find really beneficial when talking about EV adoption is personal stories from people who own and drive EVs. And, you get talking with people who drive them and you ask them, what was the deciding factor? What were you hung up on before you decided to go electric? And how did you overcome that? And how easy is it for you to operate and maintain? And do you ever run into issues charging? Is charging available in the places where you need it to be? And even better is, like I mentioned, a ride and drive. So Utah Clean Cities hosts ride and drives throughout the year, and people really get a chance to actually test drive them. And they're incredible. The first time you drive one, your mind will be blown, I promise. So you'll also see, around town, you'll see prime parking spots that have EV chargers. And so that's another incentive that's pretty cool. So I'll encourage you guys to check out the next Utah Clean Cities Ride and Drive and just stay tuned for that. Okay, so down to the business side of things here, let's talk about incentives. So we did lose the state tax incentive this past legislative session, which was a bummer, but don't let that deter you from making a decision to purchase an electric vehicle if that's what you're thinking of doing, because there are still some really incredible incentives out there that drive down the cost of purchasing an EV. So there's a federal incentive that is $7,500, and even so, if you don't qualify for that, if you're a governmental agency or a nonprofit and you're ineligible for the federal incentive, Rocky Mountain Power has two incentives right now that you can take advantage of. And if you are eligible for the federal incentive, you can also take advantage of the Rocky Mountain Power incentive. So you get up to double or triple your incentive. So it's pretty cool. So right now, through September 30th, actually, so you only have a couple more days to act on this, Rocky Mountain Power is offering $10,000 off the purchase of a brand new 2017 Nissan Leaf. And so there was, I think yesterday the count was there's 27 or 29 of these left. And so although the discount technically ends on the 30th, they might extend it until the supplies are gone. So stay tuned for that or check with Nissan dealerships to see. And And then the other thing that Rocky Mountain Power is offering their commercial customers is this really great commercial fleet incentive. So basically, Rocky Mountain Power will give you up to $5,000 towards the difference in the price. So if you're looking at a gas model or an EV,
I'm on a call.
they'll give you up to $5,000 off that purchase price of the vehicle. And you can combine that.
The sync tool, yeah. The sync app, back up and sync.
Excuse me, whoever is talking, your
Google Drive sync app should get it for you. Yeah.
Please mute your call.
Okay.
Sorry, Ashley, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So again, you can take advantage of all three of them if you qualify for all three. So you can, if you're looking for Nissan Leafs for your business, you can get the $10,000 off the Leaf and the $5,000 from Rocky Mountain Power. So this $5,000 incentive that Rocky Mountain Power is offering is just sort of getting started, and it'll be available for the next 2 years. So if you're interested in taking advantage of that, again, Utah Clean Cities can help you with the application. They should have the application and a specific web page up for that on utahcleancities.org website. I think around next week. So again, at the end, I'll have that contact information for you if you're interested in that. So in addition to purchasing incentives, there are also some really awesome workplace charging incentives offered by Rocky Mountain Power right now. So again, this is for commercial customers. Unfortunately, we're not talking about residential, but chargers for your business. So even if you just want to put in charging stations for your employees or your customers, or you are going to upgrade your fleet, you can take advantage of these incentives from Rocky Mountain Power. And you can get more information about those on the Rocky Mountain Power website, or again, Utah Clean Cities can help you with the application process even. So again, at the end, I'll provide you with that information. And here's a little infographic about, how important it is to include workplace charging in your business. And this is from one of the partners with Rocky Mountain Power, Fourth Mobility. And so it's a nice incentive to provide for your employees, or you can charge your employees. You can charge your customers. You can have it free. You can sort of, custom fit whatever your needs are. You can get, the slower chargers. You can, if you want to take advantage of some really great incentives, you can get DC fast charging at a really great rate. And again, employee charging is pretty easy to manage. We've talked to lots of businesses that offer it. And usually, just like with a system of emails or texts, people can figure out, well, I plugged in my vehicle at this time. It's going to be free. I'll let you know. So it's a pretty cool little incentive, and it also helps push people over the edge and make a decision to go electric. All right. So does anybody have any questions?
I was going to quickly share fueleconomy.gov. Is that okay, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hold on for a minute. Let me. Can you guys see this?
I can see it.
Okay, you can see the.
Now it.
Let me go back to. It went away. Okay.
There it is. It's back.
Oh. Okay. Did it go away?
Nope, I can see it.
Okay, so this is a great website. Has a lot of information, as you can see. The first thing that you can do is you can actually go and find a car that you're interested in, and this gives you the opportunity to choose what kind of model number model. So we'll just use 2017, and you could go up to, let's go. Then I'll just choose.
Matt, I can't see it anymore. I think
did it go away? Okay. Sorry. Hold on. I might have.
My screen just went back to my presentation.
Okay, yeah, I got kicked out of the thing, so give me a second to get back. Sorry. Meetings, there we go. Sorry about that, guys.
While you're coming up, Matt, I've got a question for Ashley.
Okay.
Sure.
This is Steve Bergstrom with Intermountain. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Do you know if the legislature's done anything as far as registration on the vehicles? I know that was one of the detrimental things that happened in Alabama, is that they actually increased the registration so that it really unequal the balance. Do we know if that's what the legislators look to do here?
So are you talking about increasing fees for registration to make up for owners not paying a fuel tax?
Correct.
Well, interestingly enough, next week's Business and Labor, or Rev and Tax, I think, is meeting, and I think that that's going to be discussed. And it's come up in Transportation Governance and Funding Task Force meetings that I've been in over the past few months. It's something that they're looking at when they're searching for ways to fund transportation projects. But I know, we're definitely going to be following it and providing comment, and I think that Utah Clean Energy is also have their eyes on it. So let me keep in touch with you about that, and after next week's meeting, I think we'll have a better idea of what direction they're looking to go into.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I should be back. You guys can see the website now?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Okay, so just like I was saying, you can do a browse for, we'll look at a Honda Civic here. And then this pulls up information about all the Honda Civics from 2015 to 2017 is what I think I had. So in this case, let's do 2000, we'll do this 2015 here. And then we'll compare it to a 2016 and then compare it to the Honda Civic here. And then, let's see. Oh, whoops. Anyway, I'll just pull up one of them. I was just going to quickly show you guys the, you can look here. This has the energy, environmental benefits. This one actually has a 10, so it's really good. So here, let me 16, 17. Then we'll do compare. So you can see this has all the information quickly. It shows the gas economy there. It shows information about the savings. This is kind of a Moroni sticker, but it's kind of right here. And you can actually go here, and this will show you this is the CO here, and then you can change it to greenhouse gas here. And then down here, you just change it to the different state that you want to go to, so it would be Utah. And this shows the actual smog rating, so you can go and say, okay, this one right here, if this is this particular one is a Tier 2 Bin 2 with this under hood ID. If you remember the vehicle emission information sticker, that's actually where you'd find this this number. We can go back to that slide, and this just gives you really good information quickly about any car that you want. And then there's, let me go down here. So I'll go to the, let's go to the main page again. You can actually go down here. This is a great data, a lot of data here, but we use this one a lot. Let me just pull up here. And this gives you good information about a lot of vehicles. So you can actually see that it has all the vehicles that were made in, this is 2016 model year. So this gives you the model year, model name, all the information, and then it gives you the standard that it's been certified to, along with that underhood ID number, and then gives us some more information here about the vehicle. And you can see that it just has all the vehicles. So you can actually pull this up and do searches and different kind of data. So if you're really interested in a specific car, you can actually pull that up and get specific about what kind of cars would be the cleaner car for the type of vehicle that you're looking to purchase in your fleet. So that's just kind of an quick overview of that. Did you guys have any questions on that? Hello? Oh, can't see the screen. Oh, could you guys see the screen?
The website just went away. It's back to my presentation.
Yeah, and that's where I was going back to. I was going to go back to, where's the slide that, oh, right here. So if you can see down here, the number, it would be the test group. So if you grab that number and you had that, you could go to fueleconomy.gov and actually find out also what standard it was from. But this is the easiest way to get it, is just looking right here at where it, like Ashley was mentioning. But I just wanted to kind of close the loop up with what I was showing you on the other side that kind of connects the two of them. So.
Cool. Thanks for showing that.
Yeah. So any other questions today? All right. Ashley, you said that you had some information that you might want to be sharing in a couple of days. That Utah Clean Cities might have some information available.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump to, here we go.
Okay.
So Utah Clean Cities is partnered up with Rocky Mountain Power to work on these incentives that they're offering, and so they will actually be able to help you with the application process or just finding out information or putting your application through. And Tammy Cooper is who to contact about that, or you can contact me and I can direct you or put you in touch with Tammy. But she anticipates that next week they should have the web page off of utahcleancities.org with the application for Rocky Mountain Power's incentives for the $5,000 incentive for purchase of a fleet vehicle, and then also Rocky Mountain Power has some incentives for the workplace chargers, and so all of that's going to be linked on their website and also Rocky Mountain Power. But if you want some help with your application, Utah Clean Cities can help you with that.
Great. I appreciate your presentation, Ashley. That was great.
Yeah.
Our next webinar will be probably in February of 2018. We'll get information out, and then also this presentation will be on our website. We've recorded it today, so information will be available on our website. If you guys have any suggestions as far as topics or anything, just let me know, and we will do our best to get those out and information that would be relevant to you. I appreciate your time today, and have a great day.